In this world, different from the planet Earth, Terranor exists. Earth, the world known as Terranor, has its own unique aura. In the pre-dawn mists of this world, severe rock is hidden, and every breath of air is saturated with magic. And when the heart of the Emperor in these lands is burnt, the time will come for the arrival of a certain creature that bypassed fate on Terranor. The prophecy of the appearance of a super being, the ruler of the empire, declared itself, and the emperor was ready to sacrifice his 5 sons, 7 daughters, and 19 close associates in order to call on this otherworldly deity. A mysterious guy appeared at the castle, and this angered the emperor. Is this guy from the prophecy? But it can be true. I wasted so much time. This is just crazy. No, this is not a deity, but just an innocent child. The emperor summoned an ordinary earth boy, and in anger ordered him to disappear from his eyes. Thus, the guy was alone in uncharted lands. A restless atmosphere reigned in the palace, and the emperor begged to hear his call of the otherworldly deity. Suddenly, the moment came when a monster with furious eyes appeared and rushed at the guy. But he replied his attack. The emperor was angry that the boy had dealt with this creature so easily, but they were dangerous because they did not obey the laws of this world. However, for the guy, this was not a problem because he himself was not from this world. He was an unearthly savior destined to fulfill his role on Terranor. The powerful ability to summon creatures from another world was only passed down to the last clan. She became the source of many deaths, and civilians suffered from imperial tyranny. But the emperor himself had to pay for his actions because of this guy. The emperor decided that the one whom the guy called into this world was not worthy of this and got rid of him. The guy barely managed to escape, and 3 years have passed since then. And here's again, living each despicable day, hoping one day to rise the sword of revenge over his head. This is the end of your tyranny, said the boy, pointing his sword straight at the emperor. He declared that it was time to end it. The emperor's last words were, "If not for this prophecy, everything would be over." And suddenly, a girl named Levina appeared. She was glad that the guy finally defeated the emperor and congratulated him. The guy replied that it was not easy, and they hugged. He assured her that he would do everything to make her happy, but suddenly they realized that that was not all, because they had to burn the emperor's heart to get rid of the monsters. One of them, doubting the guy Shi-Han, exceeded all expectations. The question arose, if they burned the emperor's heart, would the guy disappear? After all, he was called by the hearts of those close to the emperor. Most likely, he will not be able to return to his world. This meant that the emperor himself recognized his murdered. The girl asked him if he would like to return to his house, but he has already made his choice. His dead comrades, close friends, and the person he loves are all here in this world. He still misses the earth, but does not regret his decision to stay here. Here is everything that is dear to him, and his heart is full of joy. The girl kissed him on the lips, but suddenly they were on the threshold of a portal between dimensions. Someone opened it. It was the Emperor's heart. Even if the entire dynasty dies, access to the heart of the Emperor will remain, and it will be possible to open a portal to another world. The guy became too strong and popular. The guys thought that soon he would rise above them, becoming an outstanding figure in this world, and they do not need another emperor, despite the fact that he saved this world, and they are immensely grateful to him. It's time for him to go home, and the future of the world is now in their hands. They will not give power to someone else like him. The guy was at a loss, shouted the name of the girl, and asked for help, but she only said that he should have made this decision himself. She apologized to him and said that she didn't want to be the emperor's wife. She herself wanted to become an empress. She does not want to be someone's decoration, preferring that the jewelry lay at her feet, but he doesn't suit her for the role. It seemed that it was not easy for him, and she helped ease his pain by pushing him and saying, "Come back, my love, to your native land," and the portal closed. The world was saved by a hero from another world and his 6 allies. The savior has done his part. They decided to return him to his homeland and are now ready to take care of the future of the empire. Their savior will be proud of them. The emperor's reign is over. Now people can rely on them. The era of the 6 emperors begins. They are all went out into the balcony to the airfield in front of the people. Taxes were lowered and people were freed from hard work. All 6 emperors who now ruled the empire were in complete agreement and wisely led the land of Terranor. And it was a truly carefree time. The girl walked through the forest and admired the bright blue sky without a single cloud. She thought that now is the right time to plow the field. Humming softly, she continued her work, but suddenly her eyes fell on a leaf flounder floating among the fields. She thought about the deliciousness that could be prepared from it, but immediately noted that she could not eat the fish, not knowing where it came from at this place. In a strange way, the fish appeared among the fields, and the girl was embarrassed by this, but she decided to keep working, and then there was another crash. This time a dead pig was found. She did not understand where all this was fallen from, as if from the sky. And then she saw a fallen man. The girl did not know if he was alive, but he quickly looked around. She greeted him, but he only shouted that everything worked out. How many years have passed, and he was glad that he returned. Late in the evening, the guy was in bed. The girl entered the room and asked if he woke up. She said that she cooked porridge and was interested in his well-being. The girl did not expect him to fall from the sky. He said she saved him, but he couldn't get up because he had side effects worse than he thought. The girl had the idea that he was a foreigner. His language was not official in this world. If he speaks in a known language, then where is he from and from what tribe? But his speech was clear. The girl noticed that he had forgotten that he was no longer on earth. He asked if she was the one who saved him. She answered positively and thought that perhaps he did not belong to any tribe. The guy asked where they were. It turned out that this place is located about 12 hours from the village of Goran. Nothing was said about him. The girl explained that they were in the Liechtenstein Empire, a territorial unit formed by the first emperor after the revolution of the Seven Heroes. The guy was surprised that Liechtenstein became emperor. He asked to borrow clothes as he fell from the sky without them. He actively used the spoon and ate with gusto. The guy thanked the girl for the food, and she looked at him and thought about his dry muscular body, sharp features, and a sense of rudeness. She thought that maybe he was from the nobility, but why is he then without clothes? Her thoughts were interrupted by his question about her name. The girl replied that her name was Alita and added that she was an ordinary village girl. The guy was surprised that she now perceives him in such a way, as if he were a swordsman. It turns out that the girl wielded weapons and was a swordswoman, but was not part of the knightly squad. Free swordsmen like her did not work for the emperor and received orders separately. At a time when there was no other work, she was engaged in the crop production. The girl asked who he was, meaning if he was an emperor, but the guy fell off his chair in surprise and turned the table over as such a question. The girl took a knife in her hands, and a fight began. However, the guy said that he was not going to fight her. The girl noted that he is strong enough and easily dodged her blows. The guy said that she is not what she seems, and she has a good heart. He noticed that she was aiming for the shoulders, which meant that she was not going to kill him. He returns to the table and the girl is on the floor. She asked who he was and he introduced himself, Song Shi-han, who arrived from Earth. The girl asked if he was a savior from another world, but he sarcastically noted that it seems that someone else remembers him. He understands why she attacked him. Then he asked who this tyrant was to her, and although he would have been offended too, he was simply interested, so she did not need to answer. The girl replied that she was the daughter of Emperor Lusland. The reign of Emperor Terranor was coming to an end, and the people were determined to destroy the entire imperial family. At the palace, the girl told the man that he was the only one she could rely on, and he promised to protect the child at the cost of his own life. This child was a little girl who saved the guy when he was an egg. The man began to take care of her and raise her away from people. He taught her how to fight and just did his duty. However, when her true identity was revealed, he had to leave the empire. She has lived here ever since, sometimes going outside the village to run errands if she ran out of money. The guy understood why she lived in such a wilderness and did not expect that she was the daughter of an emperor. As a result, he became an enemy of her father. However, the girl explained that she had nothing to do with him, since the emperor was dead. But people are still afraid that someone will take his place, and members of the imperial family are able to open a portal to other dimensions, which became the reason for their persecution. The girl thought he was a murderer. The guy had the idea that they thought he wanted to get rid of the emperor's relatives, but did not bother to verify this and simply collected evidence against him. The more he learns about what is happening, the more angry he becomes. He added that now the girl is not having any easy time, but do not lose heart. Sometimes good people like him fall from the sky. The girl asked if he was a savior from another world because she heard that after the emperor was killed, the guy returned to Earth. She did not understand how he managed to get into Terranor. The girl could not believe that he returned to Earth 10 years ago and came to this world on a call. She wondered if anyone other than the imperial family could summon a person from another world. But the guy said that he himself returned, and this confused the girl even more. She asked if it was possible to summon oneself, but the guy replied that it was of course not easy, and it took him 10 years to do it. He did not cope with this task completely on his own. The girl said that she was being persecuted because she possessed the blood of the emperor, which allows her to summon creatures from other worlds. But the guy made a mistake to get here. You need to find a magical support for safe movement, and he used the power of the emperor's relatives capable of opening portals. The girl has the purest blood, so he asked who she was the emperor, and he used her as summoner so that everyone could see that she summoned him with the help of magic. The girl did not understand how it was possible. The people in the armor were already at her house, and the reason was the fixation of magic in this place. The old man who discovered the traces of magic was sure that they came from this hut. A guy named Zenon thanked the old man for the tip and ordered to prepare for the invasion. During the siege, the buildings kept side by side. The girl was already used to difficulties, and the guy thought that she had been preparing for this all her life, seeing her training in the form of equipment. However, the guy was sincerely sorry that the girl was suffering because of him. After all, she hid it for so long, and now everything was revealed. She really got because of him, especially since no one asked him to return. Although the girl did not show her resentment outwardly, she was very angry with the guy. She thanked him for the warning of impending siege. The old man created a fireball in his hands and sent it to the hut, but the guy thought that it might be too dangerous since he was ordered to deliver her alive. But was it worth worrying since the fire was so strong outside that the girl was not hurt? But if you are not lucky, the maximum she can get a few burns from the shock wave. The girl was knocked over and noticed by the knights, who were ordered to bring her alive for a reward of 10 gold coins. This simply could not be. Not an armed man alone dealt with an entire army. One of the knights said that she recognized these movements. They are reminiscent of. But before he could finish his sentence, she interrupted again. He spoke a few mysterious words, and the wind began to swirl around him. The knights were amazed. They recognized these movements. All this time they were fighting against the representative of a hero. The guy was fighting for the freedom, and he was a real defender of the world from evil. The guy told Alita that they were no longer a threat. The mission failed. The knight Xenon was slain. Retreat, said the old man, but no one actually died. They are just stuck in the ground. Not even a single bone is broken. The old man was shocked and said that he simply could not be in this fierce battle. There were no victims. Looks like she broke her arm. She made herself a bandage and hoped it would help. She thanked the guy for his help and said that she had to go, but he was indignant and said that it was better for them to stick together. And how is she going to get out of the woods with a broken arm? He said if she was careful, it wouldn't help. All the same, he must help because he is partly to blame for what happened. Besides, he can't afford to leave the wounded. The girl addressed him as a master. He noticed that it was not necessary to address him like that. He's just Shihan. He needs to figure out what to do next. It was opened and it was not safe to stay here. The closest to this place was the village of Goran, but they are most likely already looking for it. You could just cross the mountain and get to trading town of Kagon. At this time in the palace, a servant reported to His Majesty about the news that came from the detachment from Mount Deflian. After that, His Majesty went to prison where he tore out the guy's heart. But that wasn't enough to break the barriers of space, taking away the hearts of distant relatives, which made almost no sense. The emperor thought that a closer relative of the emperor was needed. His subjects reported that the mission failed. The army was defeated by an unknown person. He had dark hair and black eyes and looked like a member of the Galan race. His Majesty immediately thought of his friend whom he had betrayed, but this could not be. He couldn't cross the dimensional barriers. It's just not possible. Meanwhile, the guy and the girl were already in the city. He was a little surprised because before, when he was part of one gang, he was called the Southern Clanium. He missed the city because he used to live here. The girl asked again. He's talking about imitators. Such rumors were true. He clarified whether she was talking about the strength of 1,000 rubles of the Empress. This ability allows you to use his energy to change the appearance. Even the smallest changes can make a person look like someone else. This is a unique skill that belongs to Empress Levina. Both fell silent, hidden in the shadows, but this skill was invented by the guy himself and taught to Levina. He offered to teach this skill to Alita, as it would make it easy for her to hide, but she had no reason to accept his offer. In fact, the girl would like to learn this skill. The guy said that they should look for lodging for the night. Previously, there were gallows at this place, and the girl was worried that there were ghosts there. But the guy said that even if they are, well, he will see his old comrades. The girl asked about the guy's plans. He said he needed to settle in and he planned to stay with her for a while if she didn't mind. But she screamed out, "It was very rude. It will be worse for him if he stays with her, because she is wanted. If he continues on with her, she will have to give up every time." The question was why she agreed. But without him, the girl will be immediately caught. If you use magic to summon someone from another world, then the energy of the transition will be palpable. But no one called the guy, and he came himself, so most likely no one in this world knows about his appearance. Passing through the dimensional gate leaves a certain trace, so every time he moves, a small amount of energy is released, which provokes vibrations. As long as they leave traces, they will continue to be chased. The girl was outraged because she did not know that they still leave traces. This escape was pointless, but the guy had already blocked the vibrations with magic. While the magic is active, they will not be found, but it needs to be renewed every 2-3 days. Now she understands why this is necessary. But why does he need her? The enraged knight persistently asked the emperor to allow him to regain his honor. He promised to get the damned wicked at any cost. The emperor did not think that there was any point in this, so he didn't even begin to punish those responsible for the failure of the mission. He asked the knight if he was going to return to the battlefield with an experienced army, but the knight replied that a knight who did not follow the order could not be forgiven. The emperor agreed. Along the way, the knight thought that they would still have to take money from somewhere in order to survive. And then they are both swordsmen, most likely will work performing separate assignments. Most likely they headed to the city of Kargon, and there is only one way to find in a job. The knight decided to turn into a customer and find out what assignment they had accepted. Now it was up to him to hunt them down. In fact, the knight had a little interest in the emperor's relatives. He wanted to check out that unknown guy. He looked too much like him. It's impossible, but what if it's him? Need to make sure. Mr. Ledford greeted Mr. Ted. "You asked about them," and Ledford spoke. He said they were hired swordsmen and introduced them to Master Ted. One day the guy reached the rank of deity, but due to special movement he lost his mortal magic energy. And now he has a rather low rank. But the Lord was surprised at the rank of a bearer for such a young fellow. The detachment was going tomorrow, and they needed to gain strength. The guy thought that earning money is very difficult and not easy to be a hard fighter. If everything was as before, he would simply rob the nearest estate. The girl asked if the heroes steal too, but the guy replied that the girl he loved was a thief, but he had a serious excuse. Knowing everything and talking everything in those days was a real evil, but now you have to earn by honest work. Their mission was to get rid of the Ignazine wolves. The detachment was already assembled, but nothing came of them due to a lack of fighters. Therefore, it was decided to find independent swordsmen. The guy thought that he had not seen wolves spitting fire for a long time. 12 years ago, the first monsters he encountered were also wolves. The girl asked if he was sure that he had lost all his strength because she struck the girl right away with a wooden spoon. Yes, and with a detachment of knights, he caught twice. The guy exclaimed that he needed a spoon to deal with the girl. He became so weak. But despite the lack of energy, he still has experience. Even if the international champion is lower in level, this does not mean that he will lose in battle. Morning has come. I am Ted Barcelon, knighted by the Emperor. I will slay them all with my own hands, said the knight. Then from somewhere it was heard that he was an iron from head to toe, but it was useless against these monsters. In addition, such equipment is very heavy. The guy thought that since those times he knights have not changed at all. She had asked the girl how her head was, but thanks to the combat energy she became much better. A pack of wolves was approaching the army. The knight shouted that their flames were nothing against the knight's blade, but was immediately hit by a wolf. The guy thought that was why the armor should have been removed. It could have been dodged. In addition, he even chose the wrong equipment. Shihan thought they were stronger. Seeing how they were fighting, he could have dealt with the whole pack on his own, but he decided not to do this so as not to attract too much attention. Suddenly, the leader of the wolves appeared. He was in charge here, the boy thought. But if they got infected and got rid of the leader, they would lose their will to fight. The knight said that he would protect the soldiers and the hired sportsmen should deal with the leader. They got the hardest word. The guy said that the leader is the task of the girl and he will make sure that other animals do not approach. The girl started a fight with the wolf, and Shihan noted that she is quite strong and should not be worried about. But suddenly it was thrown back with incredible force. The girl asked why he wanted her. He was frank with her and said that in the past he was called sacrificing his heart. Do you know why he was able to stay on this earth despite the will of the emperor? However, this time he arrived in a manner more like a summoning ritual than a sacrifice. Communication with the summoner of the guarantee of his existence in this world. In other words, he'll return to Earth again if the girl dies. He waited 10 years to get here and was ready to fall naked from the sky. The main thing is that on his Earth. How can he come back because of this? The girl was already in the mouth of the wolf, but Shihan quickly dealt with him. Lying on the grass, he said that they were alive. The guy asked how the girl feels, because the beast beat her, but her body ached. Well, it looks like the beasts didn't want to kill her. The girl didn't even know that fire wolves existed. Traditionally, they were sacrificed. It was the first time she had seen a fiery wolf lashing out with lightning. It must have been a mutation, but they killed him, so everything was fine now. The girl asked why Shihan hides his true identity. Shihan explained that the six kingdoms were countries built by his comrades, and whether he went and whenever he would be welcomed everywhere. But the guy replied that he would be lucky if he wasn't executed. As soon as he killed the emperor, a knife was stabbed in his back and forcibly sent to the ground with the help to return magic. Only a few minutes, but he remembers them so clearly, even though 10 years have passed. He couldn't understand why they betrayed him. Neither of them hesitated a bit, and it was not a hasty decision. He wondered how he could not see the true intentions after so many years together. The girl clarified whether he returned for revenge. He didn't understand why she was so calm, because she had declared that everything is alright. But he begins a war on all 6 kingdoms of Terranor. But the girl replied that they were already her enemies, and she had been fighting against this land for past 10 years. It wasn't given a choice, but she did her best. The guy said she was hopelessly positive. She replied that her father had always said so. The guy asked if she was talking about the emperor, but she shouted that she was not talking about this psycho, but about the real father, Kiran. Something was hidden towards them. It's better not to lose the vigilance. A man came out and asked for direction. It was a spy from Lilstein. The girl started the fight, but the stranger said that he didn't want to fight. However, Shihan used a skill that would put the stranger to sleep for a short time, but he was able to cancel it. Therefore, Shihan was very surprised by this ability. In fact, Shihan used it as a child. Few know about him, even among his old comrades. The stranger took out the guy's underpants from the bag. Shihan told Alita to kill the stranger. Well, the underpants were signed in Korean and the guy's handwriting. It really was Shihan's underpants. In fact, it was a child who was saved by him 12 years ago, Zenon from the village of Baron. Shihan finished off all the imperial soldiers who attacked their village with his skills, and he saved the boy, Zeno, from another world. Over time, he learned that Zenon was his benefactor and savior. When Shihan began using mortal energy and became a swordsman, he learned the art of leveling attack power to avoid unnecessary casualties. The guy had a Shihan figurine and books about him, and he was a real fan. The guy offered to deal with the wolves, although Shihan thought that they had already finished with them, but the guy said that the wolves already go in pairs, and suggested that they didn't kill the Amza wolf, which serves as a bed for the female. Suddenly, a female wolf appeared in front of them, and the guy offered to show what he was capable of. He was given the opportunity to work with and protect the hero he had looked up to all his life. This time, he will show his true strengths and even the recognition of Mr. Shihan. The girl was shocked at how easily the guy repels the giant breast without getting a scratch. But suddenly the guy was struck by lightning that the wolves spewed. The imperial army feared monsters not only because of their strengths, but also because creatures from other worlds could not be harmed by magic. The same law applied to Shihan, who came from another world. The fire that came out of the wolf did not harm him. Absolute immunity to magic helped Shihan succeed. He had to pretend to run away due to a large number of extra eyes. But now he didn't have to worry about it. The guy was surprised that the magic worked on him. This had never happened before. He suddenly hit a bolt of lightning. For completing this task, they received 600 silver coins, and although they would need more money in the future, they considered this amount to be quite good for one task. They thought that if they completed all the difficult tasks, they could completely get rid of financial problems. The nun brought a big bag and asked if they had money problems. He opened the bag and showed them 100 gold coins. When asked how he got so much money, he said that he sold Shihan's underpants, and if this helps the great Shihan, then he is ready to do it. The girl wondered how she could sell Shihan's underpants for such a high price, but the guy told her not to think about it. Zenon asked what they were going to do next, because there was enough money and it was possible not to work as swordsmen for some time. They actually had three options, but Shihan hasn't made a final decision yet. One possible location that would be easy to conquer was in the northern kingdom of Jacksongard. Trandon connected King Lilstein, but he asked why they were doing this because it was not yet time for the scheduled report. The Barcelon kingdom took care of test subjects 11 and 12 on their own, but they weren't very strong, and it was also reported that they lost test subject number 1, so the king was furious. In the kingdom of Terranor for 1,000 years there were 4 magical towers, red, white, blue, and black ivory. The first emperor of the kingdom was the most powerful magician in history and collected all the knowledge and wisdom from the magicians of all Terranor. He placed these records in 4 towers, which were divided into classes and located on different floors. Magicians studied their level of magic and progressed further in magical prowess, moving to the next floor, which showed their prowess. On the 9th floor was the head of the red ivory tower at Lilstein. Trandon was appointed to such a high position for no other reason than to execute all other more suitable candidates. The king believed that he was worthy of a maximum of the 8th floor and gave him one last chance to deal with test subject number 1 and eliminate all traces. The capital of the kingdom of Jacksonard was the city of Ratanzel. The first king of the kingdom was known as a lover of parties and holidays. He said that he never hunted for power, and the empire seemed to him a distant dream and eternal feasts and festivities. He sometimes forgot about political issues, and his authority among the people could change, but on the whole he considered himself a good ruler. The capital of the kingdom of Jacksongard, on the western outskirts of Terranor, was the city of Fratenzel. The girl mentioned that the guy bought a house here, but he replied that they attract attention if they stay in the hotel for a long time, so this house was a temporary base of operations. Zenon warned that this place is cursed and they can be here. The guy, after a while, made the house absolutely clean and safe. Terranor is currently ruled by 6 kingdoms, of which 2 are considered strong, Lilstein and Intus. 2 are medium, Saffron and Phalos, and Jacksongard and Terenti are 2 weak kingdoms. The laws passed over the past 10 years have not been in doubt about their authenticity and had not led to progress. This led to numerous conflicts between states, including the Kargon War. Powerful states could not agree on who should own Kargon and who would govern this area. The Middle Kingdom, sensing the growing threat of war, took harsh measures to end the conflict. The king declared that if anyone tried to take over the city, the kingdom of Jacksongard would support the opposing side. Despite being considered strong, they don't actually have a significant advantage. Jackson's declaration had enough effect to resolve the protracted conflict. While the girl practiced her skills, the Shihan gave her hints and advice, but she didn't always understand them. He explained to her that his ex-girlfriend had explained to him earlier, but he succeeded because he was an earthling. Earthlings and inhabitants of Terranor have the same body structure, but there are significant differences in the way they fight and magical energy. Combat energy is not born among Earthlings. For its development, it is necessary to be highly spiritually developed. For them, it's like looking for something in a lit warehouse in complete darkness. However, for Earthlings, the warehouse is completely lit, and combat energy arises by itself along with magical energy. As a result, he was able to reach the pinnacle of mortal and magical energy mastery in just 3 years. Passing through the dimensions can really have an impact on the restructuring of the body and mind of a person, and bestow special talents and abilities. In this regard, Shihan cannot help the girl with his instructions, since she herself must explore and develop her abilities. The girl asked a question about if someone from Terranor went through the dimension and returned back, would be acquire the same abilities that he had. Suddenly they heard a roar and assumed that it was an earthquake. However, in reality, it was the energy that the wolf was chasing. People were screaming for help, and monsters had infiltrated the main city, indicating that there was a lack of security and an army. Shihan didn't want to attract attention, but there was no other way out. First of all, it was necessary to save people. They began to fight when an army of knights from Jacksonguard suddenly appeared, ready to help them. The Dark Lion Knight ordered his men to stop, as the area was under the control of the knighthood. He instructed the army to protect the citizens and stop. The king himself arrived at the place, picked up 2 huge axes, and began to fight with the wolves. Zenon noticed the battle seal the king was using. It was one of the magical seals available only to a swordsman with the rank of master. The king defeated all the demons. However, in reality, it was all planned. The demonic invasion was a performance, a pure bluff, designed to gain the trust of the citizens. The king was able to achieve his goal by influencing the citizens. At this time, the king noticed Shihan, who saw him for the first time, but Shihan looked like an unusual person. But the information given to him said that it was time for him to return to the castle. Shihan decided that it was not yet time to enter the game, and he knew that he needed to be careful and ready. It's been 10 days since heroes ended up in the mysterious city, and this time Alita, thanks to her hard training, mastered the basics of strength and now has as many as 1,000 looks of the Empress. Thus, she is able to slightly change her face, expression, and mood. This gave her a certain freedom of expression and the opportunity to play with the impressions that she creates around herself, and of course, to hide. Zenon, in turn, delved into the art of mounting destruction, which was so masterfully mastered by Shihan, by mysterious creator of this fighting method. He managed to learn a lot about the essence of this art, about the philosophy and technique, Zenon became a real expert in this area, which he was proud of. He not only gained new knowledge, but also mastered a new level of understanding of the world around him. Shehan, in turn, focused on increasing his combat and magic potential. He has tripled his energy power since his return to Terranor. Shehan strived for perfection, and his determination was relentless. He constantly worked on himself, honed his abilities, and waited for the right moment to take advantage of it for the benefit of his team. However, during this period of time, the evil pagans still flourished in the Burselt region, controlling a group of demons and inciting panic among the inhabitants. They sought to spread their dark power and threat throughout the world. The wise king ordered the punishment of these pagans and appealed to heroes from all over the world to join the expeditionary team and help resist the evil. This battle was an honor and a challenge for all those who yearned to show their courage in front of the whole world. "This is a Dimension clan," Zenon said, voicing his thought aloud. He recalled how during the reign of the Emperor Tiran there were various groups of pagans in different parts of the world, where they extolled the cult of the true god heroes who came from another dimension. These were dark times when true beliefs and traditions were mired in chaos and delusion. Thus, our heroes faced a difficult and dangerous task. They had to unite, use their skills and knowledge to overcome anger and restore peace and justice. This battle was a test of their courage, devotion, and fortitude, and only time will tell if they will be able to overcome all obstacles and achieve their goal. Zenon said that the Empire decided to give them their support, but it seems that they have recently gathered their forces again. Everything indicates that they are using new doctrines and techniques to attract more people to them. Shihan thought and realized that people have always relied on religion in all times, and now they are attracted with the help of this second coming of Shihan. "What do they call you?" Shihan asked. "Savior from another world?" "Song Shihan," Zenon replied. "In fact, you are the son of the god Geras from another world, and you were called to Terranor to punish the real world, which slanders the Luskan Empire and destroys it. You want to bring the inhabitants of the Empire to a paradise called Earth, but you were stopped by 6 heroes, revolutionists, and brought back to Herbs. That's why they're right here," said Zenon. "What annoys me the most is that there is some truth in this. Anyway, this is our chance." Shihan thought, realizing that this was a great opportunity to end the pagans who sowed panic among the innocent inhabitants. He realized that this was a convenient task for the king, especially given the nature of Jacksongard. Shihan decided that he would personally lead the expedition team, and they would be able to participate in this expedition when they left the capital. This will also allow them to get closer to Jacksongard, as there will be fewer guards. Everyone gathered together, and one of them, the Earl of Calderon, announced that he had been chosen by the great revolutionary hero to be the leader. He said that the reward would be commensurate with their success and ordered everyone to follow him with devotion. Alita asked who would personally lead the team, but it looked like they could do without Jacksongard. Although Shihan was sure that he would appear in person, he thought that if they tried hard, they would have many more opportunities to get closer and participate. The Ivory Tower will send 10 magicians from the 6th floor as well as 5 Dark Lion Knights. That should be enough, Shihan started. Although it's a bit tedious, we just need to subdue a small group of pagans. Thus, the army moved forward. Against the background of the fire, one person addressed the people, calling them the sons and daughters of heroes. He spoke of a heretic who took up the swords of song. He assured that the army was going to rob the truth of the believers, and stupid, dark, helpless people should not be afraid of death, because it is liberation from earthly shackles. This was the teaching of heroes, and people believed in it. Dragon of Geras, I ask you to accept the allegiance of these restless ones, one girl screamed. And the messenger of Lord did not refuse their offering. He declared that as long as ashes of the hearts of the Luz clan royal family existed, the dragon would grant his wishes. But how much longer can he control the dragon? Shihan thought. You can see these fools without him. When the time comes, you will have to deny everything, but you have to have some fun in the end. It was decided to stay overnight and set up camp. Zenon noticed that unlike the official army, there is no order here. He wondered how they would fight even if they couldn't even handle such a simple tasks. The girl added that there is no organization in the expeditionary groups of mercenaries either. The famous knight could not understand how they would be able to find out about the order of the mercenaries. While it was raining, Zenon cooked the stew, which turned out to be instantly delicious. Alita and Shihan wondered what ingredients he used, but Zenon replied that it was a common vegetable stew. After all, they said that they received the main power of the cult of the second coming of Shihan from the demons, so they should not worry about the rain, the girl thought. But Alita realized that the demons retain the habits of animals. She came to the conclusion that while this may be true, no one is on guard. Everyone is looking for cover, they lack attention to detail. If any army was gathered from the demons, then someone controls it, and it is well they can attack even in such weather. Demons have appeared, Alita concluded. By order of the command, a battle formation was formed and a circle was assembled, preparing for an attack. While the demon remains predictable and analytic, one monster has already been dealt with. They found that they are very resilient, and such number of losses should not scare them away. The demons are now under their control and will be kept until death. Shihan said that they will kill them one by one and should focus on the nearby demons, since there are a lot of them. All 44 animals appeared, and none of them tried to escape. How is it possible? The minds of beasts are so heavily controlled by magic that they begin to ignore their instincts. Shihan had never seen a spell of this level, not even when he fought against the Empire many years ago. He knew that something unusual was happening. The main task now is not to conquer the sectarians, but to maintain vigilance. Even if he falls asleep for a minute, the consequence will be serious. Shihan didn't stop talking, and soon as he saw the monster, he dealt with them very fast. Using the power of 1,000 impressed skins, Shihan entered the room where he was expected. He was greeted and shown a map that marked the base of the cultists. The road to it will take half a day. Shigan's second coming set has access to a spell that controls monsters. One of the guys noticed that during their fight yesterday, "Can the mercenaries keep this a secret?" asked the unknown. Zenon said it depends on how beneficial it is for them. An unknown person gave Shihan 10 gold coins. Shihan thought it was that much since his underpants were worth 100 gold coins, but he still thought it was a decent amount. Previously, the second common sect did not have such gold magic and subdued monsters. Perhaps they are used dark sorcery based on human sacrifice. Zenon explained that the magic he studied was orderly and accessible for study, and the end result could be calculated. While sorcery was disordered and unpredictable, it was therefore not recognized as magic. Also, many cases of witchcraft required sacrifices. Shihan clarified if the unknown wanted to say that they controlled the monsters with sorcery, but the unknown objected, saying that they did not have such sorcery. It was a shameful story, but in fact, it is a secret development because of the Blue Tower. There used to be a man named Rikran. Rikran was a respected magician, and already at the age of 37 he lived on the 6th floor of the Tower Clubs. Thanks to his talent and skill, he received recognition and the right to participate in the top secret experiments of the Blue Tower. However, he wanted too much. As a result of negligence and experimental beasts escape. As a result, he lost all his titles and rights, and he was sentenced to a 4-element punishment. This spell combined the 4 elements of magic: earth, water, fire, and air. In the tower, they used him for execution. In fact, it was a death sentence. Because of some mistake in the experiment, a person was killed. No one knew how he managed to escape, but he took one of the beasts with them. This special beast had the ability to take control of other creatures nearby. This became known later. It turned out this person's parent was actually a high-ranking member of Shinan's second common set. They no doubt used this beast to expand their power. As a result, the real goal of our campaign was to kill the monster and eliminate all traces of the connection of the Blue Tower with this incident.